First half of the Major League Baseball season is in the books. How did the MLB All-Star Game go as well? What can we expect for second half action here for SoCal Baseball? Find out in the next edition of Sideline Sports Podcast. Welcome to Sideline Sports Podcast. If you're not on the sideline, it's not Sideline Sports Podcast. I first want to start off by thanking each and every one of you guys for helping us reach subscriber number 300. We reached it in no time. We're currently sitting at 308 subscribers. Thank you so much to each and every one of you guys. The support is real for Sideline Sports Podcast, and the content that we have saved up for you guys, it's only skyrocketing up. I mean, with Center Lock, with Sideline Sports Podcast, we've got some great guests coming on to you guys. If you guys would just continue to help us support the channel by hitting the subscribe button down below and follow us in all of our social media platforms. I'll go ahead and put all that stuff down in the description below. And in the bottom of our hearts, we are so thankful for the support of each and every one of you guys. But I'm Alex Naveja from Sideline Sports Podcast. If you're not on the sideline, it's not Sideline Sports Podcast, a source of your SoCal sports news. And with me today is, if you're a long-time Sideline Sports Podcast supporter, you recognize the face. He is the CEO of Grunt Talks MLB. Grunt Talks in general goes by the name of Julian Guilarte. Julian, thank you so much for coming on to the show, man. It's been a long time, but as always, it's a pleasure to have you on.
Of course. Thank you so much, bro. I want to shout out Bobby and Darren, of course, co-workers with the company, and they can't be here, but we're always doing a lot of work together. And here's the thing. Thank you for having me. It's been a long time. It's been like months and months. Like, I can't believe when you ask me, I'm like, all right, let's do this. You know, it's been a minute. I was just at Coors Field, incredible experience. My first time going to the All-Star events. And let me tell you, it was worth the price of admission. All three things: Futures Game, Home Run Derby, All-Star. Coors Field's also tremendous. If you haven't been there, it's definitely worth the trip. One of my favorite ballparks, and I've been to 19 of them now, and it's up there in my top 3, I would say.
Hey, you're halfway done there, Julian. I mean, almost done with all the ballparks.
Yep, that's the goal.
You know what? That one was in my bucket list too. We were actually supposed to make that trip to Coors early on in the Major League Baseball season. Unfortunately, we weren't able to make that happen. But you know what? It's still on the bucket list to go to Coors and check out that ballpark because it looked very nice. And I think Fox did a great idea just showing the city around it on that blimp vision and showing it from that aerial shot. But before we even talk about All-Star break experiences, this episode of Sideline Sports Podcast was brought to you by Manscaped, who is the best in mid-below grooming. Manscaped offers precision-engineered tools for your family jewels. They obsess over their technology developments to provide you the best tools for your grooming experiences. Manscaped is trusted by over 2 million men worldwide. Let's reach 3. We have an exclusive offer for all of our listeners, our viewers. It is Sideline 20 plus, Sideline 20 to get you guys 20% off plus free shipping. That's right. We'll take care of it. Maybe I'll take care of the 20% off. Mark or Jose can take care of the free shipping. But we've got a great one, folks. And you don't want to sleep on products like this. It feels so legit. Feels great stuff. You know, you don't just have any ordinary razor on it. And how many razors can you say have an LED light right there? I think I may have flashed Julian there with that bright LED light. But go on manscaped.com, order yourself something. Use our promo code Sideline20 to save you guys some money. And, of course, first impressions matter the most. So let's go straight to the business. Julian, you were out there at Coors Field throughout the whole entire All-Star festivities, from the draft, the home run derby, the All-Star game. First of all, take us through the draft, first of all. Okay. What was that like to be there and seeing these next generation players, to hear them in that first round?
It was a very interesting experience, and this was the first time I did it live, so I was very fortunate to be a part of it. It's not like football, it's not like basketball. The hype is nowhere near the same. As I told my friends on the way to Denver, I was like, I love baseball, but the draft doesn't really do it for me. But this one was a little better, I'd say. I even got to see the Yankees pick their guy Trey Sweeney. He was even there. I was surprised. I'm like, wow, he's really there. And like they called him up, and it was like a cool moment because not a lot of them were there, honestly, but a few of them were. And it was really fun to see, Maverick getting booed loudly. No one's losing love for him. But that was definitely something that was noteworthy. But they had the ESPN booth on the right with Carl Ravish, Eduardo Perez. Then the left, you had Harold Reynolds, Greg Amsiker, and then who's the other two? Dan O'Dowd, I think, or something. But they yeah, it was Dan O'Dowd. So like you had both those sets going. The middle was like the stage. You had like the family and friends were close below, and like where the draft picks were. But you could almost go anywhere. Like you had a lot of options to sit, and it didn't cost any money, so that was cool. And there were the reporters kind of on the top a little bit, like in each section, writing their stuff. So it was a very interesting atmosphere, and I'm just gonna say I'm happy I was able to be a part of it. And the fans were exciting. There was a lot of different fan bases, obviously, for all the teams represented. So I thought it was a very cool experience. It was in the Balco Theater, like way towards the end of the convention center. To walk through like all the way down and like way towards back left. Like it was a bit of a hike, but well worth it.
Great. I mean, it was nice to hear a lot of familiar names, especially for the SoCal scene, hearing UCLA, Kevin Kendall get picked up by the Cincinnati Reds. And, of course, Yankee fans hearing about Trevor Sweeney getting picked up as well. And along with that group of analysts for MLB Network was the head coach for Vanderbilt as well. And it was nice of him to be able to break down all of the first-round picks. But how about that home run derby? I definitely got to catch that game. That first round was very fun. Just one home run difference that first round with Trey Mancini, and even came close to winning that one. But what were your experiences like as far as being there for the home run derby?
Home run derby was electric, man. I have to tell you, like it lives up to everything I thought it was. It was better than the All-Star game, honestly, which I've heard, and it's more captivating because you're paying more attention to each thing. With the All-Star game, you have a lot of pitching changes. Like some of the times, like it's a little lopsided. Like sometimes you kind of lose track of certain things. But like the home run derby, you're watching every pitch, every out to see like who gets what home run and everything. The Trey Mancini, Matt Olson was a great way to start it off. That was really fun. Olson almost got him late, but he didn't have enough. And then Pete Alonso stole the show, though. 35 homers in the first round. And then you have Salvador Perez putting up 28, losing, which is a really tough luck loser, obviously. Shohei Ohtani versus Juan Soto was the duel for the ages, though. Ohtani forces him to a tie 3 times, and then Soto just dusts him with 3 swing-offs. But watching Ohtani and Soto hit those bombs, like upper deck and course and right field, was incredible. I mean, Ohtani hit 6 balls over 500 feet, I think. You had Soto hit 520 that I think hasn't landed still.
It was definitely really fun to watch. I mean, it wasn't as fun to watch it from home than it is to be there at the ballpark, but it was definitely a good home run derby. Pete Alonso, 2-timing it now, 2 straight home run derbies.
He's just built for it, I guess.
The guy can hit, and I think if you just give him something up, like I've been saying, give him something up, and he's going to hit it out. And I definitely think he drank a lot of chocolate milk. I think that's his big thing. He loves drinking his chocolate milk, and maybe put a little protein, maybe like a scoop or 2 before the home run derby to help him out through there. But now you mentioned a little bit about the All-Star game. You said that it was the home run derby was definitely better than the All-Star game. How was that for you? And if you don't mind elaborating a little bit more as to like why the derby was better.
Well, I just felt it was more compelling for each thing. Like the All-Star game had its moments, but the AL was kind of coasting for most of it. I mean, I really thought there wasn't many times I really thought they were going to lose. I mean, there was 2 opportunities for Chris Bryant that stood out, obviously. The big play was actually an Angels guy, Jared Walsh. He makes a diving catch on Bryant with the bases loaded, and he's not even an outfielder. That was a really interesting play. And I saw Joe Madden. He said something like, I hope Madden doesn't see this because I like playing first base or something, I think. But Chris Bryant had 2 big chances. He came up empty. That was really the story for the NL. The AL is all about the East. We represented well. All the RBIs are from the AL East. Vlad Jr. MVP. continuing the great season. He had a moonshot that almost went to the concourse, like 470. That was real off. Corbin Burns and Tatis Jr. had a reaction to it. They were going like, wow, I can't believe that. And you had Simeon Bogarts and then Mike Zunino hits a homer. And the pitching for the AL was really good. Bassett almost uncorked it at one point, and then Hendricks shut it down. But, like, I'm not saying the All-Star game wasn't fun. It's just a little bit different atmosphere. And then for the home run derby, I also had better seats, kind of, because I moved a little bit over towards – I was, like, high right field. So, like, I was blocked a little bit from, like, the right center because I was high for the All-Star game. So I couldn't really see, like, the right center field area. Aaron Judge, of course, made a great play. I couldn't record, which I was pissed about because it was out of my eyesight. It was really cool to see. But for the home run derby, I had a better spot because I need to get the footage of like them hitting it out. So I kind of finagled my way over a few sections, like towards 315-ish, so I could like just see the ball go out. Mm-hmm. But, I mean, the All-Star game was fun, though. A lot of pitching changes, obviously. The Futures game was also interesting, too.
Mm-hmm. Did you see anybody good there? I know there was a lot of great talent going out there for the Futures game, and it looked really promising. There's going to be some great Major League talent that's going to be coming up in the next couple, maybe in the next year or two, really, or even September.
Yeah, I mean, Brendan Davis really stood out. He hit with the 2 homers, obviously, the Cubs prospect. You have Jason Dominguez, which was fun for me to see, and he gets promoted to A-ball, so that was cool. Luis Medina, our pitcher, looks pretty good. He hit 100 like 3 times. That was fun. Shane Baz from the Rays looks phenomenal, the pitcher. And then Francisco Alvarez went yard. You had Torguillo, the hometown kid for the Rockies. Jose Barrios, Barrios for the Reds had a home run. I think it's not Barrios, but it's like similar to – I think it's Jose Barrow or something, but he had a homer for the Reds, a shortstop. The American League was quiet. I mean, Shane Riley had 2 hits for the Tigers. Jeter Downs for the RBI double. Torkelson had a hit, but, like, the National League really dominated them. I'm trying to think about what else. But, yeah, that was, like, a good amount of it.
Mm-hmm. Well, the All-Star game is loaded with a ton of festivities. I mean, year in, year out, it's always fun. And the one thing going into this was – it's at Coors. This is the perfect home run derby spot. Like Coors Field is a great place. The Cincinnati Reds ballpark, Great American Ballpark. That's another one that's great for a home run derby. Let's not forget Yankee Stadium. I feel like that's another one that you could just hit a fly ball to right and the ball is gonna carry out of there. It's such short portions there, but you know it was a great couple days of Major League Baseball. The teams get some days off, much needed, except if you're the Yankees. I know the Yankees and the Red Sox are back in action already Thursday night. They're already back at it again with a 4-game set. But before we even talk about that, let's talk about another American League team as we start talking about the first half of the season and how things went down for the Angels. I felt like during this first half for the Angels, they had a couple of great runs. At some point, once upon a time, they were in the top of the AL West, and they were playing some excellent baseball. But unfortunately, you know, it's still very early to the season. A lot of bad things can happen, and that's where I felt like things started to go downhill. The pitching started to go downhill. There were injuries that were going on. No Quintana. They've lost the best player in the planet in Mike Trout, but you have a replacement MVP in Shohei Ohtani, who has been amazing and who has been stealing headlines across baseball and really has been attracting a lot of attention in the game of baseball. But Julian, this first half, what have been your thoughts as far as the Angels' performances?
Yeah, you know, I mean, it's the same thing with them. It's just a broken record with the Angels. No pitching. They hit the crap out of the ball, but they can't pitch. I mean, even without Trout and the reduced Rendon, this Angels offense has been great. Ohtani's been leading the charge, obviously. He's the only legitimate pitcher they have, unfortunately. But Dylan Bundy's taken a huge step back. That's been a big problem for them. He's been an absolute nightmare this year. Jose Quintana, I mean, that was kind of predictable. He wasn't going to pan out to me. Alex Cobb is always hit or miss. And then you have Andrew Heaney, who's very inconsistent too. So that rotation is a mess, obviously. Iglesias has been good for them. That was a nice pickup. I'm saying this to them, I'm blue in the face. I mean, they just got to get some starting pitchers. I don't know what the deal is over there. I mean, Trout will be back at some point, I think. I don't know if you know, but maybe in a few weeks or so. And then Rendon, I'm not sure what his thing is. He's been injured all year, so I'm not sure if they can really count on him anymore this season.
I believe they need to address all of the pitching and not just the starting.
But the bullpen too, yeah.
Bullpen as well. Like you have to. I have seen quite a few Angel games where the bullpen cannot hang on to a lead. And that's the story of baseball, honestly. You could put up 6, 7 runs, anything around there. But if you don't have the pitching for it, the other team's going to come back like no problem. And you're in the major leagues. Anybody could come back. It doesn't matter who you're facing off against. They will come back to face off against you. They'll come back. They'll definitely come back. Angels right now, they're currently 4th in the AL West, right behind the Mariners. And if you ask me, the Angels need to make some pitching moves. But I think the Angels made the right moves during the draft. They drafted 20 pitchers. No position players, 20 pitchers. And that is a great sign of a great step forward, if you ask me, for the Angels. They are really addressing the future of the pitching for the Angels.
There you go.
I'm going to give them a couple years. Julian. And I think they'll be keeping up with the Astros. Be keeping up with the A's.
There's one thing I want to say, though. I think they should have took Kumar Rocker at 9th. I think that Mets got to steal Kumar Rocker at 10. I'm surprised he fell that far. I guess there's some questions how he translates to the next level. Guy's an absolute stud in college. Obviously, his teammate Jack Leiter gets a lot of the headlines who got picked by the Rangers. Obviously, Al Leiter was the father, so the pedigree's all there. His stuff's nasty, but as I look at the Angels, I mean, they're 5.5 out in the wild card. They're kind of in that teetering position right now. I mean, the Yankees are only 1 game better than them, so I can't even talk that much. That's how sad our state is right now. But the Angels, like, if they have a bad series or two, they're probably going to be out of it. They can look to sell maybe. If they look to sell, what are some pieces you think they could trade?
I think if they can be sellers, I think they get some great prospects that can definitely translate to some success, especially on the mound. You look for some top-notch pitching talent and see. But I've been hearing rumors. I've been hearing some headlines that the Angels want to be buyers. They want to keep up with the Astros and with the A's.
They got some work to do. They better start winning some games.
I think that's where it's got to start off first. They've got to win some games. But if you're going to be, as you mentioned, a teeter-totter, the hitting here and the pitching here, well, the hitting's got to be up here if the pitching is going to be down here. And you got to score even more runs if you're the Angels. But we're going to go ahead and take a quick break. When we come back, we'll go ahead and talk about the Slam Diego Padres and the Los Angeles Dodgers in the second half of Sideline Sports Podcast. Where if you're not on the sideline, it's not Sideline Sports Podcast, the source of your SoCal sports news. We'll be right back.
This is Hector Aguayo, the long snapper for the Santa Ana Dons, and you're watching Sideline Sports Podcast.
And welcome back to the second half of Sideline Sports Podcast. Once again, I'm the host, Alex Naveja, where if you're not on the sideline, it's not Sideline Sports Podcast, the source of your SoCal sports news. And once again, on my left-hand side, that is Julian Guilarte, the CEO of Grunt Talks MLB. First half, we were talking about his experiences, all of the all-star festivities from Futures Game, Home Run Derby, the first round of the draft, and, of course, the all-star game, the Midsummer Classic. And we also talked some Angels baseball, what they need to do to be able to be on the rise on that competitive AL West division. Now, let's switch over to the AL West to the NL West, where, wow, if you want to talk about things that are brewing, this division is definitely heating up. You've definitely got a great mix of teams in the NL West with the Giants, the Dodgers, and the Padres. Let's talk about the Friars first, Julian. They have been an amazing and a fun team.
Yes,
cover.
I follow this team a lot for our work for Grunt Talks. We get a lot of videos on them. I love Don Arcelo. I think he's the best play-by-play guy in the game right now. I had a funny joke when Cronenworth and Machado were on face. I'm like, I wish we had a Don Orsillo call, even though I was like at the game and he liked it. That was funny. But this Padres team, you know what? They're in the toughest division. You guys have arguably the toughest division in baseball, despite the Rockies and Diamondbacks' poor play. You have three of the better teams in the league sitting right here. And the Padres are 53 of 40. They're 6 games out. They would be winning, I want to say, the majority of divisions, except for like the AL. They would be like right there in any division besides this one. They'd be like a game or two back in the American League division. So they're having a tough time, but they do still have the second wild card spot. They have a nice lead on that. I think around 3.5, 4 games in Cincinnati Reds. So they're going to be a playoff team. I'm pretty sure we both agree with that. Now, can they jockey themselves to pass your Dodgers? Can the Giants come back down to earth? That's going to be the question. I mean, the Padres' offense is underwhelmed a touch. Their pitching's hadn't carried them a little bit. That's what I know. The one issue with them with the pitching's been Blake Snell, and then Danielson Lamet got injured again, so that's a problem. But what do you think of this team?
The Padres have been excellent baseball. It's been Moneyball as far as the Padres are concerned. They have, as we like to call it here in LA, the Padres have recapitalized Petco Park. It's not another Dodger Stadium anymore. When the Padres had their reopening, it was all Padres fans in there. Of course, there were your Dodger fans. The Dodger fan base does travel very well, especially here in the West Coast. But no, the Padre fans, they are awake. They are alive. The Padres have reawakened the fan base there in San Diego. This has been a fun and exciting team to watch. The infield is arguably one of the best infields in baseball, maybe the first or even the second best. I mean, you've got a Jay Cronenworth, who is arguably one of the best second basemen in the game. You've got Tatis, who is very exciting to watch. He is a guy that you would want to pay for the admission alone. Machado is Machado. That guy, he's got the confidence in him. He plays with swagger. You've got Eric Hosmer at first, and it's been great baseball behind the plate. Aaron Nola, it's been amazing. The starting rotation.
Yeah.
Yu Darvish he's definitely going to be
He's been the story.
He has been great. He has been carrying the starting rotation.
It's been a great move for them. And Nola's been a little banged up, but there's one thing that we need to monitor to the Padres. I'm sure you saw this, and I want to know if you know anything about this. The Padres and Joey Gallo is definitely something to watch, because A.J. Preller drafted Gallo, and I know the Padres have been linked to him for a while. My Yankees have been linked to him too. I saw him play in Texas. The dude's phenomenal. I mean, he gets a bad rap for like striking out too much. He does a lot of other things well. His on base is really high. He's walked a lot. I think he has like 72 walks in my league baseball, I want to say. His power's off the charts. Ever since they got rid of Spider Tack, Gallo's kind of taken off, actually. He's really benefited from them removing the Spider Tack. His defense is phenomenal, too, and he can play the infields also. His throwing arm is one of the best in baseball. I really like the guy a lot, honestly. And I think the Rangers are going to end up moving him because they're really bad, and he can really help them fix things, and they're not winning with him, so I don't see why they would keep him.
I could definitely see it happening. I mean, as aggressive as the San Diego Padres are, they're not looking for another playoff opportunity. They're looking for October baseball. They're looking for some late October baseball. I'm not talking about early October baseball. Everybody knows they're going to be there, but they're looking for a World Series ring. They're looking to leapfrog over the Dodgers, and they're looking to be that team to beat. And if they do get Joey Gallo, wow, look out.
I agree. That lineup's going to be deep if they get Joey Gallo. That's going to be scary. Tatis, Gallo, Cronenworth, Homsner. That's a tough thing to navigate through. When Nola becomes healthy, if they end up keeping Tommy Pham, he's pretty decent too. Then you have Profar, who's all right. And, they just have so many options out there. And Grisham, obviously, although I think he might have got hurt. Is Grisham hurt or is he healthy?
I believe he's still there.
Oh, okay, I thought he might have went down for some reason. But, if they get him, man, it's going to be tough.
It's going to be a lot of competition in that outfield as well. My thing, though, Julian, is I feel as though there have been games that the Padres have let slip. And you can't let games slip, especially if you're a team that it is nitty-gritty, gets down to the wire. Every game matters. And if you're trailing 6 games, that's a lot of games for a team that's trying to, win a division and trying to make it to the playoffs and try to stop that streak that the Dodgers have going on with 8 straight division championship titles. But if you're the Padres, I think you got to play how they play against the Dodgers. Like the way they play with the Dodgers is the way they got to play with the rest of the league. Because
Right, like they seem to get up for the Dodger games, yeah.
they play very well against the Dodgers. Now, if they can just play that well against everybody else in baseball, I don't see anybody really being able to stop them.
Yeah, that one game I'm sure you saw before the All-Star break, they were down 8-0 against the Nationals and they came back. Like, the Padres are never out of any game. Like, they have the offensive ability to come back. But I think, to your point, they've definitely let some games slip that they should have won. Like, they've had some big leads. They've let go, I know. Their bullpen's been kind of up and down, I would say, right?
It's been a roller coaster ride, man. There's nights where they're just locked down. Nobody can score any runs. Melanson has been an amazing.
Yeah, he's been good. I like Melanson a lot.
Melanson was a sneaky sign for the Padres. People weren't too sure, hey, what Melanson are we going to get? But no, they got a great Mark Melanson.
Yeah, they did.
And they are handling him very nicely. And I think if the Padres were to make a move as far as the trade deadline is concerned, maybe you get one reliever to help you out there, and maybe the Joey Gallo signing or the trade, I should say. Yeah, I'm going to say, wow, look out baseball if you can get a Gallo and then you get a pretty solid reliever.
Yeah. I mean, I think they could potentially use a starter too, because I know Blake Snell's banged up now. I think Danielson Lamet has an ongoing forearm issue, so I don't know how deep that rotation is. Chris Paddock's been a major disappointment. I don't really know. Like, they're trying to fix him, but he's been bad for a little while now. I had so much more expectations for him.
I think a lot of people did too for Chris Paddock. A lot of people were believing in what he's able to do, but he's kind of just been that player that has underperformed in a big stage. Right now, the Padres, they've got the spotlight on them. Everybody in baseball is watching the Padres and everything they have going on and such. But let's go 2 hours up north on the 5.
All right, let's get to your Dodgers.
Now, let's talk about the Los Angeles Dodgers. Right now, they are 2 games behind the San Francisco Giants. They are keeping it very interesting in the division, and you got to love it. The 2 rivals that are trying to duke it out. But now at this point, I think the Dodgers have 2 rivals in that division. They've got the Giants and they've got the Padres. And a lot of people are really saying this is going to be the new rivalry that is going on. History will still repeat itself with the San Francisco Giants and the Dodgers, but there's the new one, the Dodgers and the Padres.
Yeah, I mean, it's been exciting games every time they play. I'm watching here on the East Coast. I'm staying up late watching those Dodgers-Padres games, doing the work for Grunt Talks also, because that's really captivating stuff. Everyone wants to see that. Like you alluded to, the atmosphere at Petco Park could possibly be the best of any ballpark this season from what I've seen. So that's really fun. And like I said, Arcillo does a great job, but the Dodger Stadium atmosphere is really cool too. I love watching the Dodger games. You guys, I mean, I'm a little surprised the Giants are ahead. I'm not going to lie. 56-35 is nothing to sneeze at. I know you're probably a little disappointed. I know they've let some games slip. They definitely should have won. And I definitely think you feel that they should still be the best team in this division. The only problem is without Trevor Bauer, I don't know if they can win the division without him, because that's a big loss. I don't know who's going to really take that spot, because David Price, we know what he is. He's kind of so he's back in the rotation now. Clayton Kershaw's been pretty solid for you guys. Urias has been a godsend. He's been holding you guys up in that rotation, honestly.
If you ask me, I think it was an absolute disappointment that Urias was not in the All-Star game. He leads Major League Baseball in wins right now with 12 right now going in.
He's been great.
He's been amazing. His strikeout numbers are great. His ERA is a very stable ERA, south of 3. He is taking care of the business, especially without a Dustin May, who is out with Tommy John.
That's tough.
Done. We can't worry about Dustin May right about now. And they have a Tony Gonsolin who they aren't exactly letting him go 7 innings or anything. It's more like a 5, maybe 6 innings at most starts for Tony Gonsolin. But at the same time, without the Trevor Bauer signing, without him, it's going to be tough. We were talking about it before we went into the second half, that the Dodgers may need a rental. They may need to look into some guys. You mentioned Cole Hamels, but that's a little bit of an iffy one because
I wouldn't actually do that. I just tossed that around as an option. I'm gonna try to look at let me check out your rotation right now. I'll see what I think because I know those three are in it now. So like, do they do a pitch count limit with Gonsolin, or they just don't like him to go like deep into the games?
They are still really precautious over Tony Gonsolin. They don't want to allow him to throw too many pitches, and they don't want to allow him to go too deep into ball games because he was dealing with an injury before, like early on in the year. So he's still slowly making his way through. They don't want to lose another young arm into there. And you mentioned it, David Price has been a guy that they've been using as a pen piece and as a rotation piece, and now they're trying to get him in there. We were talking about it, rentals. Even Anibal Sanchez has been a name.
Yeah, I mean, I'm trying to think of some guys off the top of my head. I have a few ideas for you. So, also, before I get to that, what's the stats with Kershaw on the elbow? I know he avoided a major scare, but how long do you think he's going to be out for?
Well, that Sunday before the All-Star break, he was already starting to play catch. They did like an MRI, and they said it came out negative. So he was able to dodge that, and it's a great thing that he wasn't in the All-Star game or anything. So he was able to get some days off. He was able to recuperate there, and those days off are also going to help out for Mookie Betts, who was elected into the All-Star game but decided to opt out because of injury. And a big guy that the Dodger fans are waiting for, Corey Seager. That is a name that.
Oh, what's going on with Seager? I really do like Seager. What's the latest with him?
Well, the injury started with him taking a pitch at his hand and ended up being out 6 to 8 weeks. So we should be expecting him to be back within, I'm going to say, at least a week or two. I know he hasn't started his rehabbing just yet, but I know Dodgers are starting to get guys back little by little. Scott Alexander's a name that has had a rehab that came out in, I believe it was with Rancho Cucamonga or either with the AAA Dodgers.
Oh, what are your thoughts on Albert Pujols? I think he's been interesting for you guys.
He is a very interesting piece. He is a fan favorite. A lot of people like what Albert Pujols has to offer. The stats don't show that. I mean, his ER, his batting average is at a low 2, maybe 226 or so. He does come in with some pop into the lineup. It's very interesting to be able to incorporate him into the lineup when you have a great first baseman like Max Muncy, or even sometimes you have a Matt Beatty that could come out and to play first. But Beatty has been used more as a left fielder to be able to replace A.J. Pollock on his days off. But it's been a very interesting usage of Albert Pujols. I know he was welcomed into L.A. with a warm standing ovation when he came in with his first at-bat with the
you were there, weren't you?
I was there. I was able to go to that game, and yes, a lot of people were very excited to hear Albert Pujols' name and seeing him in a blue uniform, not in a red, because he's so accustomed to being with the Cardinals red, Angels red, but now being with the blue. It's definitely a different look, but having a veteran presence in the dugout has definitely been a huge difference maker. You've got a veteran like Justin Turner, Clayton Kershaw, and now you have an Albert Pujols who definitely has enjoyed every minute of being a Dodger and has definitely taken advantage and made the most out of his at-bats as a Dodger. And I'll be honest, I am expecting more production out of that bat, but at the same time, age is a factor, and that is going to make his numbers decline a little bit. But when you do see him hit, he hits.
So I have some interesting names, too, I think you would like in your rotation. How about Kyle Gibson from the Texas Rangers? And then I'm looking at Caleb Smith from the Diamondbacks. I think those can be nice filler guys. They won't cost you a ton. You could slide them back only the 3-4 spot, and I think they'd give you a lot of reliable innings.
I think those would be some good names. I like Kyle Gibson a lot from the Texas Rangers. I think giving him a change of scenery and helping him and putting him in a contending team can help him out a lot. And I think if you put him in a ballpark like Dodger Stadium, that is a pitcher-friendly ballpark, I think that's really going to help him out a lot. And like I said, being with a contending team, it's a game changer. It changes your mentality that you're playing for a purpose now. You're playing for
right. I agree with
Vancouver.
this.
If you could get a guy like that, you plug him in 3 or 4 spot. I think that's a good position to be at because you have Kershaw, you have Urias, you have Bauer, or you have Bueller, and then you put Gibson in there, and then maybe you put David Price in there, or maybe you put Gonsolin in there.
Yeah, that's not bad. I agree. I would add one arm for you guys with the Bauer situation. I feel like you have to do something to address that besides just the internal stuff. I think the Dodgers have shown that they're not afraid to make more moves. I mean, you guys have the highest payroll. You don't care about the luxury tax. I wish the Yankees would start acting like that again. You guys are near like 260, I think. What's a few more dollars at this point, honestly? So I don't think anyone's going to bat an eye at that, clearly, but we're going to see. So how's your bullpen been? I know Kenley Jansen's had a revised year. He's been pretty solid this year. How about the rest of it?
That was going to be my final point to conclude the podcast. I'm going to say if the Dodgers are going to address anything, it's overall pitching. If they can get a rental pitcher like a Gibson and then maybe get someone for the pen to be able to solidify that, I think the Dodgers can make a serious run to another championship because I think the bullpen does need a lot of work. There have been times Blake Trinan has given up some leads. And especially when you play against a San Diego Padres team that they don't give up until the 27th out is made. So
no, they don't.
You need to get some great pitching, especially, hey, we're not talking a whole lot about the San Francisco Giants, but they're the best team in baseball, and that's another solid offensive team as well. And you need to keep up with them in their pitching that they're always producing.
Their pitching's really good. Kevin Gausman's been a great story for them. The Giants have been the best story in baseball this year. No one could have predicted this. I'm sure when you did your preseason stuff, you probably had them in 3rd place, I would guess, maybe hovering around 500. I thought they could have been in that ballpark too, but they've exceeded all expectation. The show is not really based on them, but they are stealing the show because they're in first in the division right now. I don't think it's going to fully last. I feel like they're due for some regression, but at the same time, it definitely has the makings of a playoff team.
The San Francisco Giants is a team that you can't sleep on in baseball. They are going to be a team that they get it done with some non-big name guys. They've done it through that 5 years, 3 championship run, and who knows? They can maybe get that thing going once again with the Giants. That's not a team that you should sleep on at all. Be on the lookout for the second half of the year. I know the Angels will be back at home to play against the Seattle Mariners. The Padres have a
big series.
And as for the Padres are concerned, they have a long road trip to the East Coast. They're playing 3 against the Nationals, 3 against Atlanta, and 3 against the Miami Marlins before they're back at home for a 2-game series against the Oakland A's and the Dodgers.
It's a tough stretch.
It is a very tough stretch. The Nationals are waking up. The Atlanta Braves, unfortunately, with the loss, with the MVP candidate, and if you ask me, MVP for the National League, Ronald Acuna Jr.
Yeah, it's tough.
Be injured. That was something very tough to watch for all of us baseball fans, and it was very tough to be able to see that, and that's a hard thing to see as an Atlanta Braves fan, to see him go down like that. But it's still going to be a tough stretch for the San Diego Padres. We'll see what kind of jump they get for that second half. And as for the Dodgers, they're going to be on the road against Colorado. Then they'll be back at home to play against the San Francisco Giants. So definitely we'll have all that coverage for you guys in our social media platforms. Make sure to follow us on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. We'll have it all down in the description below. But that's all the time we have left here on Sideline Sports Podcast. We thank you all so much for tuning into this one. If you guys enjoyed this episode, please give the episode a thumbs up. Comment down below your guys' predictions for the second half of the Major League Baseball season. There has definitely been a lot of exciting things, and there's a lot to look out for this coming second half of the year. What is the NL West going to look like? What will the Angels be looking like in the second half? And also, hit the subscribe button down below, guys. The road to 400 has already begun. And don't worry, I haven't forgotten about the giveaway as well. We're still working on that, folks. Don't sleep on our giveaway that we have going on. One of you lucky winners will be going away with one of our giveaways that we'll be giving to you guys as a little thank you to helping us reach subscriber number 3 100. And once again, on my left-hand side, that was Julian Guilarte, the CEO of Grunt Talks MLB. Julian, as always, it's always a pleasure to have you on the podcast, man. Always a great time.
Thank you so much. If I could say quickly, follow us at Grunt Talks MLB, Grunt Talks NFL, that's Twitter. Grunt Talks team is Instagram. My personal Twitter is Julian Guilarte1, Instagram, Julian Guilarte11. Thank you so much, everyone. Alex, this was awesome. Good luck to your Dodgers in the West Coast. Spread some luck to my Yanks. We got to get ourselves going. And we actually have the only game today. Yankees-Red Sox, the only one up tap today. So lucky me, right?
I think everybody will be watching that one because I know everybody's already missing baseball, even though we were without it since Wednesday. So I think everyone will definitely be watching in that one. So Yankees, Red Sox, we'll see what kind of second half the Yankees have if they can push their way through the Red Sox and the Tampa Bay Rays, or maybe even a wild card spot. Definitely be on the lookout for that. I'll put the Grunt Talks social media handles down in the description below, along with Julian's social media handles down in the description below, so you guys can stay up to date with everything that they have going on as far as Grunt Talks NFL and Grunt Talks MLB. But this episode of Sideline Sports Podcast was brought to you by Manscaped, who is the best below-the-waist grooming. Manscaped offers precision-engineered tools for your family jewels. They obsess over their technology developments to provide you the best tools for your grooming experience. Manscaped is trusted by over 2 million men worldwide. Let's make that 3 and help grow. We have an exclusive offer for all of our viewers. It is Sideline20. Use that promo code to save yourself 20% off plus free shipping on any products that you guys would like to use. As we showed you guys earlier, we had the Lawnmower 3.0. Well, we have the nose and ear hair trimmer. Great stuff, folks. Great stuff. Such precise shaving. And, of course, first impressions matter the most. Manscaped.com, Sideline20, 20% off plus free shipping. But I'm Alex Naveja from Sideline Sports Podcast. Thank you so much for tuning into this one. And, of course, enjoy the second half year of Major League Baseball.
Let's go. We're back.
Have a good one, everybody.